The fire started in the middle of the night. By the time anyone realized what was happening, her home was already burning. Not just a house. Years of memory, packed into wood and walls, going up in flames while she stood outside, watching, waiting to find out how much of her life was left. She survived. Everyone got out. But something about that night never really left her. Because for years, this woman had been in your kitchen every single day. Talking fast, moving faster, making people believe anyone could cook if they just tried. She was warm. She was everywhere. Millions of people felt like they knew her personally. And then, almost overnight, she was gone. Her show ended. Her appearances slowed down. And the moment she went quiet, the rumors started crawling in. She's sick, people whispered. Her marriage is falling apart. Something is very wrong behind closed doors. But what actually happened to her was so much bigger than any rumor: a fire that nearly took her home, a flood that took the other one, and a woman finally deciding she was done living her life for everyone else. This is what really happened, and why she walked away right when she was on top of the world. Long before any of that, she was just a young woman from upstate New York. No culinary degree. No connections. No plan. She was doing food demos in a grocery store when someone noticed her. It should have gone nowhere. Instead, it changed everything. She landed a spot on television, and almost instantly, people couldn't look away. She talked fast. She moved faster. There was something about her energy that made cooking feel less like a chore and more like fun. Critics sneered. "She's not a real chef," they said. "She hasn't earned this." She didn't argue. She just kept going. Cookbooks. Magazines. Her own cookware. And then, backed by one of the most powerful women in television, she landed her own daytime show. 17 seasons. Over 2,000 episodes. She wasn't just a chef anymore, she was the friend who lived inside your TV every single day. But behind that constant smile, there was pressure most people never saw. The grind of producing content, day after day, for almost 2 decades. The scrutiny that came with being a woman in the public eye, judged for everything: her looks, her credentials, even her choice not to have children, a decision she was never once allowed to make quietly. She built an empire. But empires come with weight. And slowly, quietly, cracks the public couldn't see were starting to form. Not in her marriage. Not in her health. In her. Because what came next would make people wonder if the woman they thought they knew was disappearing for good. August 2020. Disaster struck. A fire tore through her longtime home, the farmhouse she and her husband had built their whole life around. The damage was severe. Everyone made it out safely, but the house didn't survive untouched. For most people, losing a home like that would be devastating enough. But for a woman whose entire identity was built around home, comfort, the table where everyone gathers, it hit somewhere deeper. And then, before she could even process it, disaster struck again. Her city apartment, the place meant to be her safety net, flooded. 2 homes. 2 disasters. In a matter of time, the woman who taught America how to feel at home in the kitchen, suddenly didn't have one of her own. She didn't cry on camera. She didn't go on a press tour asking for sympathy. She just went quiet, and started rebuilding. But something about losing everything, twice, planted a question in her mind she couldn't ignore anymore. What was she actually building her life around? And was the life everyone expected of her still the life she wanted? No one watching at home had any idea just how much she was already quietly reconsidering. By 2023, she made an announcement that stunned everyone who had grown up watching her. Her show was ending. 17 seasons. 2,000 episodes. Over. To the outside world, it looked sudden. Shocking. Almost reckless. But it wasn't sudden at all. She later admitted she'd been quietly weighing this decision for years, long before she ever said a word publicly. She was done answering to executives. Done living, in her words, by committee. And that single decision cracked something wide open. Why would anyone walk away from that level of fame, that level of security? The rumors turned darker. She's seriously ill, some said. Her marriage is collapsing behind closed doors, others whispered. Then came another twist nobody saw coming. She launched a podcast. On the very first episode, she revealed something no one expected. She admitted to a couple of bad falls. Injuries she chose not to fully explain. Just enough information to make people ask even more questions. And then, almost as fast as it began, the podcast went silent too. Piece by piece, the version of her everyone thought they knew, seemed to be slipping away. But was this really a collapse? Or was something else happening entirely? As the rumors grew louder, she grew quieter. No talk shows defending herself. No desperate posts trying to set the record straight. And to a public used to having constant access to her, that silence felt suspicious. Then, the fire and the flood came full circle. With one home damaged and the other destroyed, she and her husband made a decision almost no one expected. They left. Moved much of their life across the ocean to Italy, starting over in a home they'd have to rebuild from nothing. For a woman who used to be everywhere, all the time, this felt like vanishing. And when someone disappears like that, people assume the worst. Then came the moment everything shifted. She finally spoke. Directly. No filter. She said, plainly, she was not sick. She said her marriage was not falling apart. In fact, she described herself and her husband as loud, passionate people who argue hard and love harder, joking that quiet couples actually made her nervous. It was raw. Unfiltered. Nothing like the cheerful, camera-ready woman fans had watched for decades. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't performing for anyone. She was just telling the truth, and daring people to actually listen. And once the noise finally died down, the real picture came into focus. She hadn't disappeared at all. She had walked away from the version of fame that no longer served her, and quietly, deliberately, built something entirely new. Her own production company. Full creative control for the first time in years. New shows on major platforms. A new generation of chefs she was helping launch. Her cooking series renewed for over 100 new episodes. A new business with her husband. Humanitarian work overseas that she never stopped showing up for. The career hadn't ended. It had transformed. But there was still one more truth waiting underneath all of it. When someone finally asked her how she wants to be remembered after everything, the fire, the flood, the rumors, the reinvention. Her answer wasn't sentimental at all. She said she won't be around to care what people think, so why worry about it now? A strikingly blunt answer, from a woman the whole world spent years worrying about. And it says everything about how much this chapter of her life had truly changed her. Today, in her late 50s, she isn't chasing the spotlight she used to have. And she doesn't seem to miss it. She's still cooking. Still building. Still showing up, on her own terms, for the people and causes that matter to her. No more living by committee. No more performing for an audience demanding constant access. Just a woman who survived a fire, a flood, years of rumors and public scrutiny. And came out the other side, finally choosing herself. Her story was never really a downfall. It was a quiet reinvention, the kind that doesn't always make headlines, but matters more than the version everyone expected. So what do you think? Was walking away from it all the smartest move of her career, or do you think fans deserved more honesty along the way? Let me know in the comments. And if this story pulled you in, subscribe, because there are so many more real Hollywood stories just like this one waiting to be told.